mean to tell me you're okay with kids in school reading an award-winning book for, All Boys Aren't Blue, which is banned, by the way, go to the top, which is banned by how many schools?
29.
29 school districts, and you think it's okay? And she asked the question, in what context is a acceptable? And she says, let that be the decision of a parent. What the hell are you talking about?
Patrick Bet-David absolutely destroys this woke MSNBC host Joy Reid for some insane statements, like absolutely insane things that I don't even want to say this early on in the video because YouTube doesn't like when I say things like that this early on. But you'll see exactly what I'm talking about here, that Patrick Bet-David just loses his mind on Joy Reid and woke MSNBC. Let's get into this video where Patrick Bet-David here on the PBD Podcast and Valuetainment YouTube channel absolutely nukes Joy Reid and MSNBC for just absolutely insane takes here. Let's check this out.
So MSNBC, Joy Reid, and Moms of Liberty go at it. And you just have to see this exchange because MSNBC Joy Reid criticized Tiffany Justice, co-founder of Moms of Liberty, over banning the memoir, All Boys Aren't Blue, from schools questioning for qualifications. What is the expertise that you have and other Moms for Liberty advocates have to decide that a book, an award-winning book, isn't appropriate for students to read? Justice responds by stating, I don't have to be an expert to know that are not appropriate for public schools, okay? I can read the rest of it for you, but I'll let you see the clip. Yeah. Rob, if you have the clip, I'm sure Joy Reid's going to do a much better job than me reading this. Watch this clip here. And parents, I really want to know, how are you reacting to this exchange? Rob, is this the full clip? Go ahead and play the clip. What
I'm asking is, what is the expertise that you have and other Moms for Liberty advocates have to decide that a book, an award-winning book like All Boys Aren't Blue, isn't appropriate for students to read? What is your expertise?
What a tragic story of a young man who's anally raped by his adult family member. So you have Joy, you said you'd let me answer, so
sure.
I'm going to answer
Please
for you. In what context is a strap-on dildo acceptable for public school? That's my question to you. Tell me what the context around of a minor child by a teacher.
Hold on a second.
No.
Wait,
we're talking about public school.
One moment.
All right.
So now you've asked me questions.
Sure.
I'm going to answer it.
Okay.
Well, who is the main character? What's the name of the main character in All Boys Aren't Blue?
What a question.
You're asking me right now.
You just gave me very specific information about this book, so you're presenting yourself as somebody expert.
It's the gentleman.
Who's the main character in the book?
The main character is the author.
What's his name?
George, I believe, is his first name.
Because you're giving me very specific information that is.
You're asking me to remember the name of an author.
You just remembered very specific things.
Joy.
Here's my question.
Talking about here's my question. You didn't answer my question.
No. I'm going to answer your
question. Great. I would love to hear that.
Absolutely.
This is how this conversation should go. You can tell that Joy Reid is trying to defend the fact that this book, which is very bad to have shown to children, if you get what I'm saying, the conversation should go like this. Hey, Joy, there's this book that's being shown to kids. Oh, what's the book about? Oh, it has stuff about like sex and like teaching people about sex in the book. Oh, that shouldn't be shown to kids. Conversation over. Instead, Joy Reid is trying to defend the book by trying to prove a point that this person, Tiffany Justice, doesn't remember the main character of the book. All this person knows is the fact that it has sexual stuff within the book that is being shown to children in schools. What's the problem with that? That's all she has to know. That's all anybody has to know to be able to say, oh yeah, that shouldn't be shown to kids. You shouldn't have to read the book and memorize it and take a quiz about your memorization of the book. It should be like, oh, that book has sexual stuff in it. Oh, we probably shouldn't show that to kids. That's it. But Joy Reid's point is like, oh, you don't remember the main character's name. Who cares? That's irrelevant information to this entire thing.
Well, I'm interviewing you and you're not interviewing me. So let's just make sure it's a conversation. What I'm saying to you is that as you are not an expert, in this book,
I don't have to be an expert to know that dildos aren't appropriate for public school. I mean, come on, let's get real.
Is a full context story, as you said, of the author's experience.
I cannot believe
Why
this
is it your right or a Moms
TV.
for Liberty activist's right to say that a parent who wants their child to have access to this book, which gives a personal experience of this author,
MSNBC. This is embarrassing.
Why doesn't a liberal parent, for instance, or a parent of an LGBTQ kid, why don't they have a right for their child to just have access to this book? Why is it your right to say they can't?
So again, we're talking about.
And each parent, Each parent has to decide what is appropriate for their child to read. So I want you to answer. I'm going to ask you one more time.
Right.
What is your right to tell a parent who wants their child, who might feel seen by this story, why don't they have the right? Why don't they have the right as a parent to say, my child can have access to this book?
If a child feels seen by this story, that means that they have been the victim of a predator. That means that they have either been raped by a family member, they've experienced
and your proof
rape.
of that is what?
You just said that if a child feels seen by this story. What I'm saying, Joy,
you're now making assumptions.
No, Joy, but if a child has been raped, you should do a lot better than
she
put a
can't
book
be
in
this.
the library.
She can't be this ignorant.
You can process at this point.
Okay, be honest with me. Do you think she's that stupid?
No.
Or this is the narrative? Because
If you enjoy content like this, then make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out a ton. Let's get back to the video.
by the way, let's not forget by the way, never trust anybody that's hair looks like this to make any decisions about anything about you and your kids. What she's doing right here is one of the reasons people like me always think that the left is always over-sexualizing kids and doesn't care about topics like this. And that's why everybody's always like, dude, what is she talking about? What is she even talking about? And let's not forget who Joy Reid is. She's the one, remember on the panel with Bill Maher when Ann Coulter was like, Donald Trump's the, what's it called? She made that face like, she's an idiot. There's no way she could think like
Tom,
this.
when you hear this logically, when you hear this, a host of a brand, MSNBC, saying it's okay for a book with those, and how do you process this as a parent, Tom?
So, Joy Reid is a pathetic mouthpiece of the left that wants children and wants to make sure that onboarding and grooming materials are present on the shelves of libraries and public schools. It's as simple as that. They want the stuff on there. They want the progressive kids. That's the purpose here. Now, I happen to think that this woman could have done better for herself. I would have known the author. I would have known his date of birth. I would have known the name of the publisher, and I would have fired back at her pretty hard on those. So I think she could have been a little bit more informed and kind of fought back against it. But Joy Reid's whole angle here is to discredit her. That's all she's trying to do. She was not arguing even for the book. She's just trying to discredit the other side. I'm interviewing you. You're not interviewing me, meaning I'm here to ask a bunch of questions to discredit you. But all I see is a mouthpiece for the left to advocate to putting this stuff on the shelves in public schools to allow kids to have access to it, to act on their curiosities or act on their depression.
Adam.
That's her job here.
Adam.
Look, it's becoming clearer and clearer who she is. You know, she's going to reap what she sows. I just Googled Joy Reid just to kind of see what's popping up. If you Google Joy Reid, do it right now. The first thing that pops up is Joy Reid strap-on. So congratulations, Joy. This is now the word associated
Don't
with
Google
your name.
strap-on, Robert.
Is that a
No,
wait a minute?
just Joy Reid. That's the first thing that pops up.
Strap-on Joy Reid.
The second thing that pops up is Joy Reid hair. And I realized, where have I seen this hair before? And it's one of our favorite movies over here. Rob, if you could pull that up. We saw her go full retard in Tropic Thunder. We recognize that hairdo. And you know they said...
Make me...
Yeah,
I knew
They
it.
said, never go full retard over here. But, I also found out that Joy has 3 kids. And she's married. I thought she might have been a lesbian. I don't know. But she's got 3 kids. So I want to know if she's going to let her kid...
That is actually a wild thing. I didn't know that either. The fact that Joy Reid has 3 kids, that is actually wild. That she would argue for this book and books like this to be shown to children when she has children. So she knows what it's like. That's crazy. That's evil. That's when you know that, because I don't believe that Joy Reid is that evil. I'll say there are people out there obviously that are that evil, but I don't think Joy Reid is that evil. I think these people are just fully consumed by money, have completely forgotten what morals and ethics are, and they just don't care about any of those things, and they just are consumed by money. She knows, if I say this, if I defend this certain thing, my paycheck will stay the same or get bigger. If I don't defend this thing, my paycheck gets smaller or goes away completely because I get fired. And we all know what happens whenever people like Joy Reid or Don Lemon get fired. They just fade away into irrelevance. Whenever people like Tucker Carlson get fired, he blows up and becomes a superstar. That's the difference. These people they don't have any fan base because nobody is evil enough, or not many people out there are evil enough to defend books like this being shown to children. So whenever you have no morals and ethics, you don't actually stand for anything except getting more money in your pocket. Not many people identify with you, therefore you don't really have that big of a fan base. So whenever these people get fired and they lose their jobs, they're just irrelevant. So she has to keep doing this. She has to keep stepping it up, or else she becomes irrelevant. And it really is, it takes it a step further that she has her own kids. So she knows what it's like, and she's still defending this. And her defense is, well, you don't even know the main character's name in the book. Come on, man.
Read this book. I want to know if she's encouraging her kids to enjoy this type of lifestyle.
The youngest child that she has is 24 years old. So if her child was in elementary or middle school, that was 15 years ago, before this was, prevalent for most schools to have these types of books.
Her youngest child is 24. How old is she? Jesus. Anyway, good for her. But she's just an absolute shell of whatever's happening.
I'm actually wanting to talk real substance here. Forget about you calling her idiot or shill or this and that. Tom, we'll come back to Tom. You found something awesome. Hang tight. We'll come to you, Tom. So forget about what she is and all the name calling. The average parent who doesn't follow politics closely is 80% of parents. 80% of parents don't care about politics. They don't follow it. They don't turn on CNN. They don't turn on Fox. They don't turn on MSNBC. They don't turn these things on. Maybe they get the news as it gets a little bit closer to the election cycle, maybe a little bit, but they're watching a Netflix show at night. They're watching a series at night. They're watching something like that at night. You mean to tell me you're okay with kids in school reading an award-winning book for, All Boys on Blue, which is banned, by the way, go to the top, which is banned by how many schools?
29.
29 school districts, and you think it's okay? And she asked the question, in what context is a strap-on acceptable? And she says, let that be the decision of a parent? What the hell are you talking about?
And that's the thing. Like Patrick Bet-David just said, people like Joy Reid will defend this book, but, and her defense is, oh, you don't even know the main character's name. You haven't even read the book, whatever. But most parents, 80% of parents, don't even pay attention to politics that closely. So it doesn't really matter, because anybody with a functioning human brain that isn't evil and wants to manipulate their child into becoming trans or whatever, anybody who's like that, like the 80%, they're going to say, oh, what's this book? Oh, it has sexual nature in it. Okay, I don't want that shown to my kids. They're never going to read it. They're not going to know the main character's name. They're not going to know the publisher, the title, whatever. They don't care. They just want to know, oh, it has sexual stuff in it. I don't want that shown to my kid. Straight up. Let's ban it from this district. And they do from a lot of school districts. And people like Joy Reid will come at them because, oh, you didn't even read the book. You didn't even give it a chance. I don't have to give it a chance, idiot. It has sexual stuff in it. I don't want it shown to my child. And also, the crazy part about this, if it had straight stuff in it, if it didn't have trans stuff and sexual deviant stuff, if it just had straight vanilla stuff, how nature is naturally, they would have a huge problem with it. The left would. Joy Reid would have a huge problem with it. Whereas because it's sexual deviant stuff and they're trying to ruin kids' brains, then they want to push it. They want to defend this stuff. It's just sick. Let me know in the comments what you think about Patrick Bet-David absolutely destroying Joy Reid because of this disgusting stance that she takes here on MSNBC against this Moms of Liberty founder. Let me know in the comments what you think about this whole PBD podcast versus Joy Reid situation.